When I grew up, I was really influenced by the King James Bible. I love that translation of the Bible, and came across some people who are doing like the King James only kind of movement. And till this day, I use the King James. I love the King James. It's a translation that's held up. But the fact of the matter is, the Bible is written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, and language has changed, and we need the Bible to be accessible to the masses, right? And we need to increase our educational standards. I know the King James isn't really all that hard to understand for a lot of educated people. For some people, it is. These and thous, it kind of confuses people, especially our younger generation, and it's a barrier. And we don't want to be like the Roman Catholic Church, where the Bible had to be in Latin and only in Latin. Like I said, I love the King James. I'm not knocking it. It's got a great legacy. It's impacted the English language. But there's something very interesting about the King James. Of course, we recently had you had the 400th anniversary of the King James Bible, I guess back in 2011. And like I said, it's a great translation. It's had a big impact. So I was reading, and I came across something I thought was kind of fascinating, and it mentioned in a biography of King James that he himself translated the book of Psalms, apart from the book of Psalms that appeared in his Authorized Bible that he authorized. So this is a copy of the translation of the Psalms translated by King James. Now some people think that perhaps somebody else translated it in the name of King James, or King James had assistance. But this version is different. Instead of a straightforward translation in English, it has rhythm and rhyme, and I will give an example. So I got this version because I was fascinated by the fact that King James supposedly, I'm sure he had a hand in it. He might have. Some people theorize that he translated a third of it and then someone else finished it for him. Maybe he partnered with somebody to translate it. Anyway, it's attributed to him. So you can buy this translation, but the problem is it's like it's a bad, based on a very bad photograph copy, and the resolution is bad in areas. It's and then it uses the old form of the letter S, which looks like a backwards F, which is kind of confusing. So let's read a psalm here. This is Psalm 14. The fool hath said, there is no God, this doth his heart conclude. They all corrupt do works most vile, and none doth any good. The Lord did look down from the heavens to mark this mortal race, to see who would there understand and seek to God for grace. They are most filthy, and they all aside are soundly gone, and none of them doth any good, no, not so much as one. The workers of iniquity have no wit at all, who eat my people up as bread, and not on God do call. And yet at last the confounding fear make their malice shall restrain, for with the race of all the just the Lord shall remain. The counsel of the poor distressed, to shame you do intend, and laugh at his simplicity, who doth on God depend. Oh, what a happy fight it were, a most pleasing thing, if Israel's salvation straight thou wouldst from Zion bring. When they by thee, who captives were, their liberty have had, then Jacob shall fully rejoice, and Israel shall be glad. Sorry, it's hard to make out some of the words because of the typesetting, and also because of the bad quality of the copy. So let's look at the 23rd Psalm as well. Okay. The Lord of all my shepherd is, I shall from want be free. He makes me in green pastures lie, and near calm streams to be. He doth restore my weary soul, that it new strength may take, and in the paths of righteousness me leads for his name's sake. Yea, though I Through death's shadow walk, yet fear I in no sore. Thou art with me, thy rod and staff, with comfort me support. Thou my food, thou my food before my eyes, at table dost bestow, and dost with oil anoint my head, and makes my cup overflow. Thy goodness and thy mercy shine, shall whilst I live before me, and of the Lord in the house a dweller still will be. So it's hard to read because of the typeset, but it's interesting. I wish someone would fix the typeset so this would be more accessible to the public. Psalm 24, the earth belongs unto the Lord, and all that it contains, the world that is inhabited, and all that there remains. For he upon the groundless seas hath founded it most sure, and established it upon the floods most strongly to endure. Who of the Lord unto the hill with glory shall ascend, and who within his holy place shall standing him attend? Even he whose hands are innocent, whose heart is free from guile, he who all vanity doth hate, and swears not to beguile. That man for certain from the Lord a blessing shall obtain, and from the God that saves his soul shall righteousness attain. This is of them that seek to him the generations right, even Jacob's brood, that chiefly seek the pleasures of thy sight. Lift up your heads, you glorious gates, eternal doors give way. Read that again. Lift up your heads, you glorious gates, eternal doors give way. The God of glory enter must with glory to stay. What King of glory now is this, the Lord whose power is great, even the great Lord who mighty is, by battle to abate. Lift up your heads, you glorious gates, eternal doors give way. The God of glory enter must, and majesty to stay. What King of glory then is this, whose praise such numbers sing? Even that great God, the Lord of hosts, he is of glory King. So, it's interesting. But the typesetting needs to be fixed. So this is the King James translation. The translation attributed to King James himself of the Psalms of David. So it seems to me that King James actually authorized 3 versions of the book of Psalms. The Psalter and the Book of Common Prayer. The book of Psalms in the authorized King James Version of the Bible from 1611. And this translation, which he is attributed to have made from the Hebrew into the English himself. But scholars suspect that it may be synonymous. There might have been another author. It's attributed to King James, but not by him, or someone assisted King James in completing the task or in translating the whole work into English. But wherever the source is, this is the King James, the translation of the Book of Psalms attributed to King James himself.